Live from Burbank, California. It's another episode of Ken Goes Live. Tonight, Robbie Smith checks in with some thoughts on buff men and short shorts. Ken welcomes his best buddy in the world, Matt Key. And we hang out with all of you. And now here's your host, me, Ken Napzok. Hey, friends. Welcome to the third episode of Ken Goes Live. This is my show, bathed in pink and purples and whites and blacks, in which I hang out with all of you. That's right. We have got, that's, Ikaika. This is a Sherbert shirt, huh?
It looks pink in real life, but...
In this real life, this shirt is bright pink. But you see, this color down here is actually 93% magenta. Did you know that, Ikaika?
Mm-hmm. You told me 2 weeks ago.
You listen to me.
Uh-huh.
Am I the only one you hear that you listen to?
I mean, you don't yell at me, so I'll listen to you.
We have got a great show, as I mentioned. My one of my best friends of all time. Do you keep records like that in your mind? Like where you rank the friends, your best friends of all? That's what I'm asking you, crowd. Do you do that? I know best friend is a weird concept, especially when you get to my age. 62 is a weird time to be keeping track of your best friends. But this guest here coming up here today is one of my best friends of all time. We're creative writing partners. By that I mean we just get together and share poems. And we've worked on a lot of things together, and we're going to have a fun conversation. And also, we're going to get to a wonderful Robbie Minute here today. That's right. The Robbie Smith Minute goes on. Another one today, one that's very close to his heart. A little housekeeping as we always start up top. Details still come, stand by on a live show at Jam the Van, August 21st. We're working on that. Look, the state of the world, I have my mask right here in my pocket. Yeah, we're tracking some things. We're tracking if it's safe and sound for us to do live shows with all of you there. Don't forget, this is a show that you can attend in person if you're in the Los Angeles area or you want to travel out, or you can buy a live stream ticket to and watch from the comfort of your own couch. So stand by for those details as well. Don't forget we have podcasts. That's right. The Good People Association podcast feed is up and running. This show is available as an audio version, if you so choose. We have the Positivity Report, Josh Brady, Riley's Cantina on there. And yes, we keep saying it, but we're not lying. We keep saying it. We've got other podcast kind of exclusive shows or exclusively podcast shows. And I'm drinking tap water today. You going to blame me for stumbling over sentences? What do you want from me? This is the glamorous life we got here in Burbank. By the way, Burbank tap water, rated one of the best, just like Matt Key. One of the best. So look for those podcasts. Also, I want to hereby announce, I didn't make a graphic for it, so don't worry. My podcast, the Casterly Talk, which is a Game of Thrones and Song of Ice and Fire podcast, wonderfully named by the wonderful Lon Harris, Rachel Cushing, Andres Cabrera, Thomas Risling, Michelle Boyd, a lot of people like that appear on the podcast regularly. It is not done. We were right smack dab in kind of the middle of this big rewatch, going back from episode 1 of Game of Thrones on, breaking down the themes and the lessons and the connections of each episode. All that's still in place. We're going to be returning, it looks like August 10th. I'll start having new episodes out, and you can find the new podcast feed out there. Look for it. We had to do this thing. We had to do this kind of complicated podcast redirect, which shouldn't be that complicated, but it ended up being kind of complicated. People checking in live in the chat. Laserbolt asking if I am Sonny Crockett or Ricardo Tubbs. Both. A little bit of both. Sean Sullivan, Sully's here. Ken looks wonderful in pink and black. It's a pink and black attack. Jennifer Murrow is in chat as well. Everyone say hello to the great Jennifer Murrow. We have reached the top of the show, so Ikaika, hit that graphic, and I'll take a drink of water. This, my friends, is the top of the show. All right. As always, I have some often unprepared thoughts, things that are on my mind, things going on in the world. I think because I'm broadcasting here on Thursday, I'm late to this conversation. The Olympics are going, and I'm an Olympics fan. I haven't really watched much this year, but I grew up watching the Olympics, appreciating the Olympics, and I'm a sports fan. And I'll start my conversation with this. I think sports and competing in sports, at a young age to when, do you want to go play dodgeball right now? Let's go. I think competing in sports is a valuable thing that teaches great lessons, including sticking with it, reaching your goals, working hard to reach your goals, how to deal with failure. A great baseball player fails 7 out of 10 times. I love being a baseball coach. I really believe in the lessons of sports. But we are having a conversation in the country, even in the world this past week, of what we ask of our athletes, what we demand of our athletes, what we think about them when they express things like human emotions, and take a little bit of a pause to take stock of themselves and do what's good for themselves. Of course, we are talking about the situation going on in the Olympics right now with the gymnastics squad. Simone Biles, one of the greatest of all time, decided to, I'm gonna sit some stuff out. I'm gonna do what's right for me, but what also I feels right for my team. And this started a absolute, I don't even want to use the word discourse, or probably conversation that happened in Discord. It just exploded, as all things do. Now, as I said, I'm late to the party. I don't have anything that I'm going to say about the specific situation that's brand new to the conversation. I don't think professional athletes, performers owe us anything other than the entertainment that they provide at the time, other than what we see on the TV screen. But if they want to step aside, say Jim Brown from the National Football League, Barry Sanders from the NFL, CM Punk from the WWE about 10 years ago, if they want to walk away because of things going on inside, things going on around them, or just because they want to try something new, that's their choice. That's a given. I don't think that's brand new to the conversation. I just think I'm finding it a little exhausting that these conversations pop up and the conversations go to this. Disingenuous doesn't even take it in effect for me. It just becomes these silly, ignorant talking points to say, she's given up, all these kind of things. And it's not about Simone Biles anymore. It's about us giving attention to these people who are not coming to the table for any actual conversation. I'm not the kind of person who goes on Twitter anymore, who says much on Twitter. Never really, it was a good place for jokes. But I'm not going to quote tweet. I'm not going to highlight. I'm not going to go engage with anyone there. If you do, God bless you. That's for you to do. Why are we giving attention to these absolute blowhards? Because we're trying to talk to them and, even in insulting ways, we're trying to communicate with them. But you couldn't even do a cartwheel. Who are you to tell her what to do? Look, Simone Biles is going to be fine. She tweeted out today that she's very happy with the support. She loved hearing the support. She loved knowing that she has value beyond a gymnast. She's got 35 medals, competing for 10 years, was part of a system in which her and many others were physically and emotionally and sexually abused, and the organization hid it. But she wanted to come back to the Olympics to help represent the people affected by this, to stand tall, stand proud. She's already done the work. She's not a quitter. She's never been a quitter. And the conversation also is turning to mental health and taking control of your own life and having agency, having control of your own narrative. This is why I love the movie Black Widow. It's about young women taking control of their own story. It's a pretty powerful theme, I think. A lot of what's going on is conversation being led by people who love to fight change. I ask yourself this. All change comes pretty fast. Not all change is great. There's good discussions. There's nuance to have. We're not going to get that online. But why are we consistently engaging with people who absolutely relish the idea of fighting change? Are you going to be that type of person? Are you out there currently that type of person who looks around the world and says, I'm the one that's right. All this change going around me is something I'm not going to engage in. In fact, I'm going to attack it. That seems to be more of the problem. It's not an honest conversation. It's something going on there. Let's stop giving it the spotlight it deserves. I'm even probably giving it too much of a spotlight right now. This was the type of week for it because, over the last week as well, a fun little reimagining of a classic cartoon emerged. That's right. Kevin Smith's He-Man. Oh, look at that sexy man riding in his fur underpants on a big, strong cat. Yes, this was also part of the conversation as well. How dare the sanctity of He-Man be destroyed? By the way, I know a lot of He-Man fans. In fact, we're not done having a He-Man conversation here today on the show. It's going to be popping up again. It's the same type of thing. We try to fight a lot of this discourse or fight the conversation with reasoned, measured conversation or talking points. That's not what they're there for. The people trying to tear this down just want to watch the world burn as they fight change time and time again. And I know, because I used to be someone who would fight change as well. I've been looking at my Facebook memories a lot. I'm not on Facebook a lot, but I've been having a lot of fun. In fact, there's some memories that popped up of me and my guest today. Boy, did we both look different. But I've also been looking at some of my old status updates, and they were about me being afraid of the changes going on around me and being afraid of the changes going on in the world, which, by the way, fear is a normal thing. We all can have the conversations. We all can find the best way to move forward. But to sit there on your porch in a rocking chair with a shotgun, ready to shoot at anyone trying to change the world around them is part of the problem for me. So, hey, that's all I got on the subject. I'm just one dumb man in a ill-fitted suit jacket, in a sort of pink shirt, and a cotton mouth because Burbank's tap water isn't quite doing its job. I don't have any particular insights. I don't have any particular beautiful things to say on it. I'm just looking at this world this week and saying, why are we giving the spotlight to the people so willing, so eager to fight the change going on around them? I don't know. That is the top of the show. All right. We are almost to our guest. But as I said, we're not quite done yet talking He-Man. That's right. Ikaika, cue it up. We got the return of the Robbie Minute.
There are 3 things that you can guarantee in life: death, taxes, and people being triggered over stupid shit and becoming harbingers of hate.
I'm a grown-ass adult, and this cartoon is threatening my masculinity.
But what do you do when those annoying voices out there start barfing negativity into the void and try to steal your peace?
I'm threatened by a strong female character in a cartoon.
There are 3 ways of coping with butthurt personalities. You can engage, but that's seldom helpful. You can get upset and let it ruin your day, but that's just letting them win. Or you can go on enjoying your life and the things that you love. In today's story, we learned that only you have the power to control what you take in your life. As far as I'm concerned, all of the trash talkers, clickbaiters, and peace stealers, well, they can just right off. Until next time. I have reached a level, and I'm never coming back from it.
Robbie Smith, once again, you're my hero. The Robbie Minute, every week or every episode here on Cadden Goes Live. All right, let's bring in my guest. He is a talented writer, sketch performer, comedian, philosopher, podcaster, all around great chap. He's also great at parties. Please welcome my friend, Matt Key. Yay, big applause, big applause, big applause. Hey, how you doing? How you doing, Matt?
Good.
You're so tall.
Good.
Yeah.
Is this where I talk?
Yeah, get right up on that. This is great. You're just, man, I miss you.
Did I do?
You did
it
great.
right?
No, you
Yeah.
did great. We were gonna have fun with an awkward intro. That's what we were.
That wasn't awkward?
That's what we were trying to do today. No, we were like, let's be awkward.
That felt pretty awkward.
You
to
know,
me.
you know why? Because I had a busy week, and I'm starting the show complaining, but I couldn't really produce the show this week. I was up till 1 a.m. working on a pitch for something else, and I was like, I got a show tomorrow. But you know what? It's Matt Key.
Yeah,
We'll do
we're
it.
Fine.
Hey,
We're
buddy.
Fine. Hey, buddy. It's good to see you.
Caleb in chat says, Doctor Strange himself.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll have to adjust the camera angle. You look like you're so. I told Ikaika, no, you're gonna do what you need, Ikaika. But I told Ikaika, I was like, Matt Key is so tall. We're gonna have to find a way to fit his hulking frame.
Yeah, my gigantic. Yeah, my
in our own frame.
6'5". Yeah,
Jed Murrow's in chat says, "My boys."
I love Jed Morrow.
Jed Murrow's the best.
Hi, Jed Morrow.
Hi, Jed Murrow.
Is that which cam? There's 2 cameras.
I told you
Oh,
not to
I
pay
didn't-
attention to the cameras.
You're right. Sorry.
Just pay attention to me. Just pay attention to me.
But you said Jed Morrow, and I wanted to wave.
Yeah,
at-
yeah, we'll wave it. Toodles. Sean Sullivan with Super Chat says, Maggie is the greatest person I can randomly run into at a Southern California comic convention. Let's start
I
there.
appreciate that.
Let's
Thank
start
you.
there.
Okay.
You give, I almost said too much of yourself. That's not what I meant of the question. You give so much of yourself to any human you interact with. Starting conventions. I've seen you interact with a listener of the Marvel Movie News podcast. You used to do all the things, the Wednesday Club. And Brittany, your wife, and I will come back, and like 2 hours later, you're still talking with them.
Yeah.
Where does that come from?
Uh,
I don't mean it. Yeah.
No,
Where does it come from?
I think that it is like if someone is like has watched anything that I've created, I want to like I feel like I'm sort of like saying like, hey, like it's I'm grateful for them. Like I'm grateful for them engage like anything that I've ever put out I see as generating a conversation.
Yeah.
But since I'm on this side of the camera, I don't really get the chance to converse unless like it's online, like with chat or whatever. So there's an element of like, oh, if you're watching me, then if you've watched me, then I see us as like we're on friendly terms, and I want to know who you are. I want to know who you are. Like I want to hear your theories. I want to engage you in the same way that you've engaged with me, albeit like, you know, through like with the distance of a camera. But, you know, like beyond that, I also think that there's, you were talking in your top of the show.
Top of the show, then.
Top of the show about.
Is that a good sketch character? Top of the show, man.
Top of the show, man.
I'm top of the show, Pete.
Top of the show, Bailey. You were talking at the top of the show with people like resisting change and all of these other things. And I think that a lot of that comes from not being able to see the person across from you as legitimately human and legitimately like afraid of the same things as you are and hopeful of the same things as you are and dealing with the same things that you're dealing with. I think all of us get in our own heads so much about what our story is that we fail to engage with other people about what their story actually is. Yeah. And we talk our story at them and then they talk our story at us. And I'm trying to just say like, no. Like you're a human being. And just because I have had a couple of like relatively successful shows online, like we're still both just humans. Like that would be like a lot of what I would say whenever people would like come up, oh my God, your Marvel Movie News or your Wednesday Club. I'd be like, look, I'm a dude who reads comics. Yeah. Like I just happen to be able to do it on camera and talk about it, you know? Yeah. So that's the only difference, you know? So I don't know. Like
No, it's a great starting to point to who you are and also to pull it into the conversation of the world and what some of the stuff I mean up top. It doesn't, you know, I battle sometimes in my brain with younger generation, Gen Z. I love them. I think they're engaged, but also they are so ready to toss me out of onto the street and move on because every generation does, right? Every generation thinks they created sex. Not true. Somewhere, someone's grandma said, put it in all the way. Like, this is how it happens, right? But I'm here for what they're doing now, and they're engaging in this Simone Biles thing. But it is about us, you know, looking outside of ourselves. And the base level of she's a quitter. This isn't Little League. We're not. This isn't telling your kid go take another swing. This is someone who's put her life into this and can do or say what she please. And not engaging in that is kind of where you come into the story. Is what I love your perspective on it. We just don't want to look across the table.
Yeah, like I think that's like one of the biggest problems is that like I feel like we all come to the table saying like, no, but I'm right. I'm the one that's right. And I try to always come to the table and say, well, I have my opinions, but like my opinions are incredibly flawed, like and very like fallible. So, you know, I have to assume that your opinions also are. So let's find middle ground instead of screaming at each other. You know, and like so,
and like even what I'm talking about top of the show, it's like that's not acknowledging other opinions. Because I get in the Star Wars world. Well, I didn't like Last Jedi, and it's like, yeah, I'm sure you're the one who has a legitimate concern. And let's have a conversation. You are also siding with those who are not there to have an honest discussion about it. They're there to tear apart the landscape, and that's where I'm starting to draw the battle and have been drawing the battle lines. That's not what you're talking about. You're talking about honest conversation.
Yeah.
Honest empathy and investment in the person with you.
Yeah, I like that's the word I've been searching for is empathy. Like it's
Yeah. It's the word it's on everyone's mind lately.
yeah. Well, like I think that we are. I feel like we're missing a lot of that, and I feel like a big I think there's a fundamental misunderstanding of empathy versus sympathy.
Yeah. Go into it.
I think that a lot of people think like that when you say, "Hey, let's empathize with the other side," they think that I'm like saying, or that we are saying, or that the people who are saying let's empathize are saying, "Hey, let's like give them the benefit of the doubt, or let's not dogpile on them," or any like that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying like empathy to me is very much wearing the other person's shoes and seeing where they're coming from. So like if you can empathize with where someone's mindset is coming from, where what their perspective is, then you can better engage them to potentially change their mind. If you just scream at them, if you're just mad at them, if you just like tell them how wrong they are, they're not going to listen. They're going to dig their heels in and push back and say, "No, you're wrong." And then we just keep coming at loggerheads. And like, like 100%, there's a lot of things to be upset about in the world.
Yeah. Every second of the day.
So many things are like last year showed us there's a lot wrong, and there's a lot of conversations that we're not having.
Yeah.
And that we are in desperate need of having. So I think that if we can both sides approach each other with empathy to try and understand where each other are coming from, then we can have a better conversation.
Yeah, and the both sides isn't boiling down to political sides. It's just like any kind of conversation, any kind of serious thing of sitting down, and even if it's a Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah.
You just sit down.
And the other thing is like I don't understand why people can't let other people have their opinions. I love Doctor Strange.
Yeah, you do.
Like he's my favorite Marvel character,
and has been for a long time,
and has been since I was like 11.
Yeah.
Because he got his power from reading, and I was like that studious nerdy kid.
that's like talk about tiers of nerddom. That's like you're either high or low on the chart depending on how you want to look at it.
Yeah.
I'm already a nerd, but you know what's even going to make me know? The superhero that's reading the most.
Yep. Like he gets his power from like, I've memorized all of these books. I'm like, well, I do that for fun. I could be a superhero.
I'm a hero too.
I'm a hero too, Dad. Look at me do magic. But like, I really enjoyed the movie. Like, there are flaws to it. I'm not saying that it's a perfect movie, but I am allowed to enjoy that. And it's not like I'm saying like so many people have come at me and be like, I can't believe you love that movie. That's not what I'm saying. But like, like with you, with like this, the Star Wars fandom can be so polarizing and so bitter. And like, I can say that like a bit more objectively because like I love Star Wars, but like I'm not like involved in it the way I am with Marvel stuff, and like, there are plenty of people who have their opinions on Marvel stuff, but
that's what I heard.
But I just don't engage with it. It's just like, all right, well, that's your opinion. Like, it's cool. Like, we're allowed to have our opinions.
Being able to leave the opinions on the table. I remember one bad breakup I had. And I've been fortunate. I've not had any really bad breakups, but the one that was the worst. I remember I was trying to go back and trying to like I can't have her thinking bad things about, And I remember driving away, listening to One Step Closer by U2 in the rain on Sepulveda Boulevard in 2005. You and I were friends, and just thinking, I need to drive away and not worry about what she's going to think about me.
Yeah,
I can't control that narrative.
Yeah, you can't.
It's like opinions. I can't control it. I just got to keep driving up Sepulveda, which is a long street.
It's a long street. It's a very long street.
Part of the thing, one of the things I absolutely love about you, and I think a lot of people, and there's a lot of people in chat who I think it pours off of just you and your essence when you're in a conversation or on a podcast, how much you do give to the situations and to the people around you, to the people that you invest in your life. It's an amazing source of warmth and comfort. Where does that come from for you, other than the empathy talk, the big conversation? Where does that? Why are you so willing to give so much of yourself to your friends and those around you?
I think it's
Because I'm going to interrupt you. I'm going to interrupt you. Because you're the type that will drop what you're doing and come over to my house, and if you need to pick me up and carry me out because I broke an ankle, you'll do it.
Yeah, I think it's, I think that love and grace need to precede any friendship. I mean, even that's kind of a hard thing to say.
It's a nice poem. It's a nice poem. You throw a nice poem there.
But even that, I would do that, for a stranger. So.
But that's the thing. You are that type, and not in a demonstrative way. There are a lot of people I know who light up a room, but they do so at the cost of the others in the room, where they think people are drawn to them only because they're not being quiet enough to hear that no one is. So they walk out going, "I killed. Everyone loves me.
Everyone loves me."
You didn't listen to them, hear that they didn't. Where you are very sensitive in a way, like I think an empath in a way, and you invest in so many there, and so therefore you are a light in the room.
Oh, thank you. That means a lot.
Yeah.
If you want to know exactly where it comes from,
Claudia Dolphson chatting goes, he literally did that for me. Picked him up.
I did. Hi, Claudia. I think I have to say, I was raised Christian, and I never wanted to be that Christian growing up, that took for granted what the teachings of the Christ. I never wanted to be that Christian who was like, well, I'm saved, so I'm going to heaven, so everyone else can.
I'm good.
I'm
on the ferry.
Fuck you.
Get your
whatever.
car on there when you want.
Yeah, I never wanted to be that Christian. I was always raised, to believe that whatever Christ did, it was my job on earth to emulate that. So I went through a series of existential crises after I dropped out of seminary in my 20s, and didn't know what I believed, and I had a lot of people telling me that hey, if you're not a Christian anymore, then you have no basis for your morality or ethics. And I was like, I don't feel like that's true. I've got plenty of culture to indoctrinate me in different ways, and I eventually just kind of came to the conclusion of I am going to continue to choose to believe in a God that is one of love, even though I do not necessarily identify myself as Christian. I don't say, I'm not hey, I'm Christian. Jesus died on the cross for my sins. I don't I look at that now and I'm like, that actually doesn't make sense to me. There's so many things that I can poke at and be like, here's all the ways that doesn't make sense to my theologically trained brain. But I do like the idea of living a life of love for the other and love. I mean, love for yourself. You have to love yourself too, but not in a selfish way.
But you and I are going to work on that, right? Loving ourselves better.
Oh yeah. Okay, yeah. That's something I definitely need to work on. But I like loving other people. It makes the world more fun for me to love other people and to not be upset at other people and to try to in every situation, in every instance, to look at life from the other person's perspective. I had, I believe it was my Old Testament professor, Dr. Marty Michelson, who taught me people will always act in ways that make sense to them. And that was something that that changed my life, because I have to say, well, this person is being mean to me, but why are they being mean to me? Their behavior makes sense to them. So if I can understand why they're behaving that way towards me, I can engage them at a better level. Yeah. And just that way of thinking in and of itself is sort of love presenting. It's I can't help but love the other person when I look at it from that perspective.
Yeah.
So
this is wonderful stuff. No, I love it. And the stuff about I still for the most part I identify as Christian because I'm a Yankee fan. But I'm never one to throw the baby or the deity out with the bathwater.
Yeah.
And I think there's a the very rocks will cry out in my mind type of thing. And I look at it in Star Wars. Every Star Wars story is about light and dark, whether or not it's the Force or not. It's about a choice, and it's all prevalent. It's all there to the point where now there's this new. I'm getting to Star Wars talk here.
Sure,
There's this new wrinkle of looking at Emperor Palpatine and what he was doing, how he literally was tracking everyone's movements on his staff, so to speak, in the Empire, to find the ones that are most susceptible to slipping and going to the dark side, going to evil, not in becoming a Sith, but in fudging a report, in furthering corruption or suppressing or oppressing, and how it's down to every choice.
Yeah.
And I'm fascinated with that because we as Star Wars fans go, well, if Jedi and Sith, but it's the story goes all the way down to the core of just everyday light and dark. And you're someone who realizes that every day there are light and dark choices, even for ourselves inside our own heads.
Yeah, definitely. It's funny that you say that. I mean, it's not funny, but like it made me think of a mid-century philosopher. I believe her name was Hannah Arendt. Arendt.
Definitely, I loved her first album.
She came up with the phrase of the banality of evil. This was like during the Nuremberg trials.
Okay.
When they were talking to like some of the Nazis who had like signed like these are people who were like administrators for like the camps and all that horrible stuff. And she like the point that she was saying was, evil is not like this like mustache twirling
like the one you
villain.
have.
It's not that. She said like so much of the evil of our world is very boring. It's just being willing to look the other way or to allow like your morality to lapse for like the sake of like your your patriotic nationalism, you know, or like so many other influences can cause you to look the other way or act in a different way or to act in a selfish way or to act on behalf of the state when what you like deep down you know that you shouldn't be doing that.
Right.
And like that was based on so many of these testimonies that were coming out where these people were like, yeah, I was just doing my job. And it's like, no. Like hundreds of thousands of people died because you signed that paperwork. Like that's not just doing your job. Like that's there's evil there.
There's evil.
But like
in that,
their intention was not to commit evil. Their intention was to just do the work.
Yeah.
You know, they just didn't stand up for what was right. And like that's sometimes all it takes, you know.
See, this is so Matt's a deep thinker, and I go to Star Wars. Rogue One, the character of Bodhi Rook is a simple truck driver who took a job to get off his planet. And he is impressed upon by Galen Erso to make things right. That simply driving and transporting the weapons of the suppressor is you're complicit. And Bodhi Rook dies saying the words, this makes things right. And I'm a dum-dum, but I look at the space guys. But I think it's drawn, and that's what George Lucas is looking at, and that's the core of every Star Wars story. This is why I love talking Star Wars with you, even though you're talking philosophy. You're an amazing deep thinker, and it's always been the case.
Thank you.
But almost to the point of sometimes me and your wife just want to slap you upside the head and say, just order the taco you want. Stop talking to the waiter, Matt.
You're
order
so
the
not
taco.
wrong. You're so not wrong.
Order the taco. But you did start when I met you. You were freshly out of seminary school.
I was like maybe a year and a half, 2 years out of seminary.
I met you 2005-ish. You're doing stand-up comedy. How do you go? Tell the folks, and you maybe have said this in other podcasts with me, but
sure.
to the good Ken Goes Live Good People Association audience, how do you go from seminary school to sketch and stand-up comedy in Los Angeles?
I mean, do you want? So, like, I had always grown up like in love with comedy and writing.
Yeah.
Like even in like high school and undergrad, like I was doing like stupid little improvisational scenes, and I was in theater in high school, and then in college I was the lone theater kid at my private university, Southern Nazarene University in Oklahoma City. I remember getting there and saying like, "Hey, I want to do one of the school plays." I went to their mass communications department. I was like, "I want to be in one of the school plays," and they were like, "Well, we don't have one scheduled. Do you want to direct it?" And I was like, "What do you mean?" And they were like, "Well, we don't have a theater department." So for about 2 years, I was the Southern Nazarene University theater department all by myself as a sophomore and junior. So like that was always like performance and writing and comedy was always kind of my thing. And then when
you were just doing it for Jesus,
I was just doing
which
it,
I did too.
Yeah, I was just doing it for Jesus.
I was the head writer of my Nazarenes sketch team.
There it is. that's why we're such good friends. But you know, I got.
So the taste of the performance was
the taste of the performance has been there since I was a child, and so I get into undergrad, and I'm a theology and philosophy minor, and I start like that. That was like tremendously challenging. You know, like one of my best friends in college was this doctor now, Dr. Paul Jones of psychology, and he. I remember talking to him about like right outside of our university commons, and he was, you know, I think I was a junior or sophomore, and he said, like, how do you justify this, like, thinking that people of the LGBTQ community are sinners? Like, how can that be? How can you say that in the same sentence as God does not like people of that, you know, people who make that choice, but also they're born that way. Like we know that they're born that way. We know that, like biologically, genetically, they're born that way. So like, God created them, right? But now God disapproves of them. Like, why would God do that? He was like, he was like, there, like it was basically he was pointing out my cognitive dissonance. Yeah, and it challenged me in a way. I was like, oh, wait, yeah, you're right. Maybe there's things in Christianity that I've never considered. And that got me down this road to like engaging it at a much, much deeper level. And then I got into my mythology classes and, you know, the myth of Orpheus and Osiris predate Christ by about 1,000 years. And they are almost the exact same story, born of a virgin, like sacrificed for their people.
Open for
like,
Hall & Oates.
Yeah, open for so... Like I go in, like I chose to go to seminary because I didn't want to be like a minister or a priest. I wanted to be a professor. I just like this stuff really was fun for me to think about. But it was mainly because I was like, I don't know what I believe. Oh, okay. And I don't know where to go anymore. Like undergrad was not enough for me to figure out what I believe anymore. So I went to seminary. And it was at seminary that I realized like, I don't believe this anymore. And that's okay. Right. It's okay for me to question these things, to come up with answers that have challenged me enough that I don't believe this anymore. And for me to acknowledge and admit that and accept that. Right. Now it's my job to be authentic to who that person is. Yeah. And try to figure out what I believe now.
Is this kind of like, if I'm following, is this kind of like when I go to Subway because I don't believe it's a sandwich and I go order to confirm that or deny it? And I confirm it.
That it is not a sandwich?
That it is for me.
It is a sandwich?
For me.
For you?
Sandwich. Subway is an authentic sandwich journey.
Listen, if the postmodernists have taught us anything, is that you have to be true to yourself and that your truth is the only truth.
But yeah, I give it
the only truth you can know. Yeah.
So you went to seek it out. Again, you were, you didn't want to go teach Sunday school, which if you do, great.
Go for that.
But positive Sunday school, the little felt, when they put the little felt figures, here's so Joseph. Great. Arimathea felt figure. I loved that.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, so
it wasn't that. You wanted to go, I have some thoughts, some questions. I want to go find out.
Yeah, like I graduated college and like I graduated college with an existential crisis. So I went to seminary to see if I could. Yeah, right. So I went to seminary to see if I could answer those questions. And seminary just taught me that I already knew the answers to those questions. I was just unwilling to look at them. And it was still a very expensive lesson. But it was a good lesson. It was an important lesson for me to learn, and that was, you've known the answers, you've just been denying them. Yeah. You've known these answers, you've just been pushing against them because you don't want these answers to be true. Because if these answers are true, then everything that you've been raised to believe needs to change. Right. And like it's hard to switch over to a completely different OS.
It's very hard.
So
this last year gave us all a chance to do it fast.
I mean, we had
in many ways, and that's not a specific issue conversation. I'm not talking about masks. I'm talking about just the last year, how you function and how you interact, and the empathy you put in the world, and what you look and the foundations you stand on, all got whacked with a big sledgehammer. Yeah, we had to figure out: do you want to engage with the change and find out what you believe, who you are?
Yeah, and I think that's like a tremendously important thing. I think it's awful. How it happened, and I think it's awful that it's still happening and that there are people fighting against it like believe in the science. Like, you know, like I very strongly stand for believing in the science. But yeah, I think that we are all grappling with sort of like how to be who we are, and in the face of what we are now realizing, like how to be who we are in the face of realizing who we've been and who we need to we need to change to be. You know, like one of the things that I loved about Falcon and Winter Soldier so much,
Marvel nerd,
is that, you know, Captain America is the ideal of who America could be, and Captain America is who Americans see themselves as being. Like Captain America,
right?
Like all of the like people who were like painting eagles on the side of their vans, and like
All the people
I
yelling,
believe in America, and like all of that stuff, and like, but you know, the people who are also yelling about like
they think
know,
Captain America would yell at Simone Biles for quitting.
yes. Like they think that Captain America would go down to the border and make sure that like immigrants were
Right.
you know, immigrating. It's not fair to say immigrants, but the people from this like Mexicans and Hondurans and South Americans were immigrating legally and not illegally or whatever.
They think Captain America would be down there.
They think Captain America would be down there, when in reality it would be John Walker. Like John Walker, like that. Like Mark Bernardin said it really well on Twitter when he said Captain America is who Americans think they are, and John Walker is who they are.
Right.
And that's a hard truth to grapple with. And I think that we all saw that in spades last year. Of this is who we think that we are. This is the ideal we're trying to live up to. But look at us. This is who we actually are. And if we want to be Steve Rogers, we need to stop being John Walker.
Yeah.
You know.
And it's easy to focus on the 99 Captain America stories and the one John Walker story. It's easy to ignore and say that's an outlier. That's what I faced a lot in the last year.
Yeah.
You know, as someone who worked in the public safety industry, who has affected hundreds, if not thousands, of arrests and all those kind of things, and looking at a lot of things that I couldn't deny anymore, because I could give you 99 good stories, but I was ignoring the 100, and the 100 was
very bad.
Very bad, and could not
Very
be
bad.
avoided. And in my heart, knowing I need to, by addressing the 100th story, you know, doesn't necessarily validate the 99, but it challenges what I'm standing on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, Wyatt Russell, right?
Who played John Walker? Yeah.
I mean, come on, if you're a Russell. America wants to be Kurt Russell.
Yeah.
Wants to be part of the Russell family. But yeah, no, I totally take what you're saying. I love the way you're phrasing that, because you're smarter than me. I eat Subway sandwiches.
That's not true.
I read a report.
Well, no, it is true about Subway sandwiches, but
I'll read a report that says Subway sandwich bread isn't really bread, and I'll be like, I'm heading out there to prove it again.
By golly, I'm gonna prove them right or wrong. I am eating this Subway for science.
That's what I say every time.
Yeah.
Sir, what'd you like? I'd like the 12-inch sandwich for science, please.
Put bacon on it for Sir Francis Bacon.
A wonderful deep conversation here, and I appreciate. I
hope I'm not saying anything that's like offending people.
No.
I'm
But
terrified of that.
it's also the way you convey the message, right?
I hope so.
I'm getting upset at some of the stuff in the world right now too, and I've been upset at some of you, even breaking it down to some of the Star Wars discourse is dishonest and false as well. If someone comes up to me and says, "Well, that one plot in the Last Jedi didn't go anywhere," I'm like, "You didn't engage with it, you didn't study it, and you don't know, and I'm not having this conversation with you. Go believe what you want to believe." It's easy, but it's easy to deliver that message wrong.
Yeah.
I don't think you're delivering the message wrong. You're delivering it in a thoughtful, contemplative manner that at least allows for the other humans in the conversation and the discourse to exist.
Yeah.
And figure it out.
Well, speaking of, is there anyone saying anything that we need to be aware of?
Yeah, Mike Fink says, get these two guys out of here. No, he says this convo could go on all night and I'd still be here.
Oh, thank you, Mike Fink. That's very kind of you.
Kingsport Cal says they're having half off of beans and rice at Cheddar's. Kingsport Cal, I'll get out to Tennessee again. From there, from the deep conversations and all these wonderful things, you go into comedy, which it's actually, it's not like I'm making jokes. It actually makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Most comics are not, or anyone writing, we're not stand-up, we're not class clowns.
Yeah.
We're not the people that, again, got all the attention. We're the ones in the corner going, that guy's an idiot.
Yeah. Yep.
I've been thinking about this, but it's also what I keep saying. I've even said on the show before. Just it's how we communicate. I could not get people to look at me, pay attention, man, woman, dog, or rat. I couldn't get anyone to look at me unless I was making them laugh.
Yeah.
So my laughter isn't silly, pointless things. Occasionally it is. I like a good burp joke. Like, come on, like ask Grace.
Jokes are the great.
I try to see how many pillows I can knock off the couch by burping. I guess it's okay, but like. My comedy now is even more try to be focused of like, what am I'm trying to communicate my thoughts about the world because that's how people listen to me and that's how I know to talk. And so for you to carry this deep philosophy into comedy, it actually makes perfect sense.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like I there's part of me that's like, maybe I should have stayed with stand up. Maybe I should have like pushed forward on improv and sketch. But like, I just, it just wasn't doing it for me anymore. So I started really more focusing on like the new media stuff.
Right.
Like working with Screen Junkies was great. Working,
Marvel Movie
News was
Wednesday
great.
Club.
Wednesday Club.
We got what is it? DeVito Plays, his Matt show. Key Questions was amazing.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, that is one of my crowning achievements. Like that was that was very much a labor of love. Yeah.
Yeah.
The Doctor Strange one especially, like really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we
thank you.
No, I'm going to dive into some other stuff here. First, though, I do want to remind you all again. Check out the podcast version of the shows. Just search Good People Association wherever podcasts are podcasted, and find out what we're doing. And then and don't forget, we have also got Streamlabs. You can support the show there, support the channel through there, and you can go to the GPA.fun for merch, memberships, and a lot more. We've got some cool things coming our way. We're about to announce a little project that's forthcoming. Also, for me personally, I want to thank anyone who saw me out in Seattle with the great Mark Ellis and Daniel Bridge-Gadd and Tristan Bowling. I see Mr. McClunky is in chat as well. Got to meet Mr. McClunky out there at the El Corazon Theater. I'm not done telling jokes. If they'll let me get back up on stage on August 31st, locally in Los Angeles, if you're around, I'm going to be at the Ha Ha Cafe with Daniel Bridge-Gadd and friends. I'll be there supporting Daniel as he headlines this show out in Los Angeles. If you're local, come on by. It's a 10 p.m. show on a Tuesday night. Late night, get a drink, bring a blanket. Let's have some laughs. All right. Claudia Dolph says, our sketches weren't doing it for you.
Oh, jeez.
You were over at Acme, right?
Yeah,
for
I was
a long
at
time.
Acme. Yeah.
You ended up at the Groundlings Sunday Company, all that kind of stuff, which is, we'll talk about that journey some other time when we have 4 hours.
Sure.
Sketch comedy. Did you? I know you maybe don't do both, but sketch versus stand-up, totally different disciplines.
Entirely different discipline.
Which one did you at least feel more at home at? Was it
sketch? Sketch, yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
and like, there's a lot of me that like really wishes that I could go back to sketch. And Claudia, it wasn't that the Acme sketches weren't doing it for me. I loved that. It was hard to walk away from it, but I really wanted to focus on like my screenwriting and my TV writing. And
yes.
It still hasn't gone anywhere, but like at least I've written a few more scripts in that way.
But we're going to talk about that's one of the themes I want to talk about here today. Thanks everyone for listening here. Kike, I promise I'll get you out. Tell Heather you'll be home soon. I want to get some detailed stuff here on dreams and goals. You and I started writing together about 2006, 2007 on a great screenplay concept, a superhero concept. Man, it made us a lot of money. We won that Golden Globe.
Yeah, it was the best.
We got hired. It never happened. We also were working. The great Jen Murrow's in chat. Was watching. We working with Jen on something over the years too as well. And it's just it's the business. It's how it goes. It's many things. You and I don't necessarily write as much anymore. I kind of was like, hey, I got to get back into broadcasting. You were like, Doctor Strange is coming out. I got to go podcast about it. But we are not done yet in any means. I'm finding myself at 45 years old. I'm finally finding out who I am on a comedy stage.
Yeah, which is huge.
Yeah, which is allowed. Stand-up's a little different, but writing, the game's not over yet. Where are you at right now in terms of never giving up on those goals, which is easy to do?
So last year, I really started reinvesting in my education and in like believing in my ability to actually become a writer and go on to become a writer and to be in a writer's room. And to be clear,
you've written a lot of stuff. You've been paid to write stuff, commercial treatments, and all this kind of stuff. I don't want anyone to think that you've been like clutching some papers over a typewriter.
Yeah, no, like I mean, like I've done plenty of stuff. Like I wrote, I don't know, like 2,000 or 3,000 sketches probably. Like I'd like if I do the math, I'm just like, oh my god. I wrote a lot of stuff, for Geek and Sundry, a lot of stuff, for Screen Junkies and all of that. So like it's not like I've just been not working on it. But last year, I was like, you know what? A lot of the new media stuff has kind of like disappeared for me. I really want to reinvest and refocus on my TV and film writing, especially my TV writing, because it's so much more complicated, at least to me, than film writing. So I started doing classes online for UCLA, and we would meet every Tuesday night, I think. I did a spec, which I was really proud of. I did a pilot that I'm really proud of. I'm working on another pilot now. And where I'm at now is in recognizing the importance of instilling my perspectives into the scripts and into the series and into the projects. And I'm really, like you, finding yourself and your comedic voice on stage. I'm starting to find my sort of fictional comedy voice on the page.
Nice.
I'm starting to really find I'm starting to learn how to write about these, as you say, deep philosophical thoughts, but from the perspective of like narrative or within the medium of like television, and really starting to try and figure out like what it means for a script to be uniquely mine. I'm starting to figure out what that voice looks like.
How does that feel at this point? Are there moments of aha? Stand up is a little more different. You're going to know.
Yeah.
You're going to know right away, and it's not just about the laughs. It's how the whole presentation and how it's going. You get a little more immediate feedback, which is not always a good thing.
Yeah.
But have you had those kind of aha moments, and how those feel for you when you're looking at a page?
Yeah, I mean, I did a spec for What We Do in the Shadows. And for those of you who are not necessarily in the know, like I did not write for What We Do in the Shadows.
You wrote a spec for it.
I wrote a spec for it. A spec is just like speculative. If I were to write a What We Do in the Shadows script, this is what that would look like. Hey, showrunners, do you like this?
Right.
And I was like genuinely proud of it. And like I read it like front to back. I was like, that reads like an episode to me. Like there's, I do not know how to get better than this. And like I wrote like 3 drafts of it, and like was genuinely very proud of it. And then I let a couple of friends of mine read it who are in the business, and they came back with like, dude, this is great. And like that was it for me. I was like, all right, cool. That script is done.
That's it.
Now I'm moving on.
But that's big for you. That's big for you. Not to get to but like I know you have. We've written together. We sometimes. I think we wrote the first act of that one screenplay 49 times because it's hard to move past it.
It's hard to move
particularly
past
for you, for me as well, and creative people. Again, it's hard to just leave those opinions behind you as you drive down the road.
It is, and I think last year I really started to come into my own in terms of this is what writing deep, meaningful conversations into like a television script look like. And now I'm gonna have to like,
it's wonderful.
After I get this other pilot done, like I'm gonna pivot to like a couple movie ideas that I have and start playing around with those and trying to figure out my voice in those.
Love it.
But like that's what it was like for me. And like it's also recognizing like now, like I'm at the point now where a lot of like young writers get to like in their early 30s, like in terms of like like they've been writing all of their 20s, and now they're like, oh, this is what it. And it just took me 10 years longer, to get to that place. But now that I'm there, I'm like, okay, it's not a matter of it's nothing else other than just being persistent, being consistent, doing the work every single day, or like finding the time to do the work every single day, and just keeping at it and making it more of a priority every day instead of. I think for like the last 12 years of my life, it's like, I want to be a writer, but I never will be, Yeah. And now my perspective has changed to, oh no, I'm a good writer. I'm a good writer, and if I keep at this, I'll become a better writer. And if I continue at it from there, I'll become an even better writer.
Yeah.
And one of these days, I'll become a great writer, and maybe I'll sell something. Maybe I won't. In the meantime, I'm having a blast just writing the things because writing them is teaching me more about myself and like teaching me more about how to be a better person and a better friend and to love more openly. And so
finally, God, you've been one of the biggest jerks I've known. Oh man, yeah, no, I love it. And it truly, it's sounds like a bumper sticker, but it's a journey, not the destination. And it's easy for folks like you and I, not just in the creative endeavor, but maybe you've had a bad marriage, and speaking in general sense of just there's real trauma in the world, and there's real trauma in our lives. But I think for folks like you and I, it's easy to look at those 12 to 15 years while you watched other people get it, not just success, but get who they are sooner.
Yeah.
And you and I could look at the little broken dreams on the sidewalk that we kept tripping over, and we get so in our head about it. But here now, going, I'm here now for this reason and for who I am.
I think it's about changing your perspective to be one of not broken dreams on the sidewalk, but dreams that have not yet come to fruition. But I'm still going to get the dreams that are on the sidewalk aren't broken. Those dreams got me to here.
Yes.
And if I continue to move on, I'm going to get even further, and eventually these dreams will manifest.
It's looking back and going all of that, and again, I'm speaking in general terms.
Yeah,
looking back and going all that has got me here, not just in a I needed that broken ankle to get here, but just like I am now who I am, and now I'm set up for something more that I couldn't even imagine.
Yeah.
It's not easy. And believe me, this weekend was a great weekend, and I came back to just but you know what, I do suck, and I'm gonna fight every day. You have to. And now I'm going to talk about depression and imposter syndrome, but all of us in your life out there, whatever what you're dealing with, whatever you are out there watching, it got going on. It's easy to trip. And
it's very easy to trip.
It's okay to trip.
Yeah,
it's okay to trip.
It's okay to trip, and it's important to recognize that it's okay to trip and then to get back up. And I think that, I got some really good psychiatric treatments last year for my depression that's helped me stand back up
you just
more quickly.
Yeah, you transitioned.
Did I do a
into
segue?
the title of it? Matt Key Gets Healthy. Let's talk about some of this stuff. Yes,
sure.
So you got
just talk about my treatments and such.
Talk about the pills you're popping, man. No, talking about the medications and the dealing with some stuff, and and some of the challenges you've had. You're great, looking great, lost a lot of weight, but there's some behind that. But you really truly are now in a healthier spot for a lot of reasons.
Yes. I lost the work at Geek and Sundry and everything, and that was hard to do, and that was hard to I really enjoyed that job. I loved everyone I worked with. It had its problems like any other job does, but it was a struggle here and there. But that was hard, and it really hit my depression really soaked that in like a sponge and made the next few months pretty hard. So I really decided to seek treatment. I was like, you know what? I've been meditating, and I've found ways to mitigate and sort of minimize the depression, but it's now to a place where I need to address it. So
was there some coach yelling, "No, get on the parallel bars"?
No, there was not.
Cool. Just checking.
Put some dirt in it, Rock. No, there was nothing like that.
Yeah.
But it was I could tell that that depression was making me someone that I did not recognize and that I didn't want to be. So for myself and for the sake of the people that I love, you included, I was I'm going to go get treatment. But in doing my research, I was I don't want to. I had taken Wellbutrin, and Wellbutrin was great, and Wellbutrin worked for me for a couple months, and then it plateaued, and it didn't, and I crashed really hard, and it was bad. But Wellbutrin works for a lot of people, and it's great. I realized that taking SSRIs like that is more like putting a Band-Aid on a gunshot, and it's it keeps the blood from flowing out a little bit, but it's not fixing the wound. I was I want to fix the wound. There's got to be a way.
And it's okay to put a Band-Aid on. That's part of the healing process.
That's part of the healing. Absolutely. Do that. And if that's what works best for you and that's what you want, no judgment. Do that for the rest of your life if that's what you want to do. It just wasn't, like we were talking earlier, be authentic to who you are. To me, I wanted to treat it.
Yeah.
So I did a lot of research into psychedelics, with acid, ecstasy, or MDMA, I should say. And there are some really incredible treatments coming out of that. So I found a psychiatrist in the Los Angeles area who was licensed to administer some of those treatments, and I went and spoke with her. She took my insurance, which was great. And she was the one who introduced me to this treatment that's called transcranial magnetic stimulation, or TMS. Basically, they put a helmet on my head that makes me look like I'm Professor X.
Yeah. Or Doc Brown from Back to the Future.
Or Doc Brown from Back. Yeah.
Wait.
Back, what?
Let me guess your name.
Like, I don't know how to explain the science necessarily, but it would send a magnetic resonance of a particular frequency to a pinpointed place in my brain, on the left side of my brain, that is, I think she referred to it as my mood regulating ganglia. And
I would have called it the Hurt Locker.
Well done. But essentially what happens is in doing that, it stimulates glucose production, and that increases that one region's neuroplasticity. And neuroplasticity is what you need in order to rewrite your brain. So she essentially allowed that part of my brain to rewire itself. And the best way that she put it to me was, like when you're a child, your brain is like a monster truck rally, and all of the mud is wet and no tracks are being left. But as you grow older, the rain stops coming and the dirt solidifies, and the mud becomes ruts. Yeah. And then your thoughts get stuck in those ruts. And that's a natural process for the brain. That's how the brain works. That's how it matures. But when you have depression, it hardens in ways that get you stuck in loops, that get you stuck in life, that like get you stuck in like different moods. It's like it wasn't that like, oh, I'm so depressed, I'm sad. I wasn't like this emo kid. It was like I had like this weird hopelessness, and
I mean, you showed up in a scarf that one day.
Yeah, it was a phase.
Yeah.
But you know, so she essentially like kind of re-wet that track.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's a great way to look at it.
Yeah. So I like after that happened, like the entire world opened up. Like it was intense. Like it was intense. Like you know, like I had to go in. I think it was like 6 weeks, and I had to go in 4 times a week for 30 minutes a day, and just sit there and let this thing like zap me like every 2 seconds. It would send like a 2-second burst, or every 10 seconds or something like that. Yeah. And I would just sit there and watch Netflix because she has a little TV in her room. Amazing. And the procedure room. But
would you watch the He-Man reboot and scream at it?
It wasn't out yet.
Oh, okay.
It wasn't out yet. I actually watched a lot of nature documentaries.
That's the best.
Yeah, I was like, and like documentaries on creation and nature. That's what I watched the most.
Awesome.
But
this is great. So
so like it like, but that's like that was what allowed me to really pursue like, oh no, I can do this. I can be a writer. Why have I been saying I can't be a writer? Why have I assumed that I can't be a writer? I can totally be a writer. Like, it's going to be hard. It's a very hard thing to become, and it's a very hard thing to do, and it's a hard thing to break into the industry. It's impossible to write a pilot. Like, you know, like I have no idea how people do it, but it's a skill that can be learned, and if that's the case, then I can learn how to do it. I just have to keep at it. You know, so like my entire outlook on the world switched almost. I know it was gradual, but like it felt like overnight. It just like, oh, I can do this. Why?
I get you.
Why have I been saying that I can't do this for 10 years? I'm gonna like, it's gonna be a long road. I may have to get like odd jobs here and there to help support the family and everything.
Me too.
But
to support your family.
Yeah, thank you for that support. I appreciate it. But you know, like, this is what I want to do. I want to be a writer. I want to write TV. I want to write films. I want to. I'm building a website right now. Like it's a learning curve because I don't understand what WordPress or Photoshop, but I'm building that, and I'm learning how to create
Pixlr. I'll teach you Pixlr.
Thanks. Yeah, please. You're teaching me how to create a podcast because I want to do a podcast. So like I'm starting to line up a lot of things that I've always wanted to do, and just didn't have the right mindset for it, and now I do. So I'm pushing forward and doing it.
You're stuck in some ruts, which I love. That's I always say, and this is a general thing of just like, for me, depression alone was that. It was a friend I loved hanging out with.
Yeah.
And it can still be, like I said, Tuesday this week, I was hanging out with that friend. It was a good time. We went for a walk in the park. just me and my pal depression because it's great. It's fun sometimes. It feels it. You know, it's that
like,
rut because that's what your brain knows. Like, we function like this. This is a fun
just
thing.
How like there is like an element of like addiction to it. Like
100%. Which does not take away. When I say depression is a bit of an addiction, does not mean that it's not chemical. That I don't have empathy or it's just like sometimes I even see people online, friends of ours, tweeting, just spiraling on Twitter, and I'm just like, I get it. I've been there.
Yeah.
You are a little bit addicted to this friend you have.
Yeah.
And you're not willing to work on it, or it's impossible right now, or you don't have access to the help you need. And I feel for them, and I see it. Yeah, that's what I mean by that when I say it's an addiction.
Yeah.
Yeah. Along the way, because eventually Kaika wants to go home. He's going to cook some vegan food tonight. He told
that's
me.
nice.
He's not. He's going to cook a steak. You had some actual health issues here. Talk a minute or two about what's going on because it's quite a change. You're over in the corner sticking yourself with something over there.
I found out I had type 1 diabetes last year.
Surprise!
Surprise! Happy 2020. But you know, like it's my wife and I have like adapted. Like it's
Were you feeling stuff along the way? Or was it just like...
Yeah, like probably around like May or June of last year, I started feeling really sick all the time. Like I would wake up and like would just feel nauseous all day long. And then I was drinking like 20 to 30 glasses of water a day. I just could not keep it down. And, Brittany was like, babe, like that's a lot of water. And like, for me, I was like, but water's a healthy drink. Like I'm just have a high desire to be healthy.
Yeah.
My body was dehydrated because there was so much sugar in my blood. It was like absorbing all the hydration.
It was like, calm down, Twinkie.
Yeah.
Let's go figure some stuff out.
And then that, like, so after about probably 6 weeks of feeling just really awful every day, like the best way I can say it is that like I had all of the Halloween candy overnight. Like, like when you're a kid and you go get all the candy, like, and you wake up sick the next day.
It's just when you're a kid? Oh, okay.
I woke up feeling that way every day. And after 6 weeks, I've got to go see the doctor.
Yeah.
And the doctor was like, did a blood test, called me back about a week later and was like, hey, like, according to the blood test, you're diabetic. You're going to need to go see an endocrinologist.
You're dead.
And I was like, what?
Yeah.
So went and saw I have a wonderful endocrinologist. She was like, yeah, like it's type 1. Your pancreas isn't making insulin anymore.
So let's make it for
you. Here's this prescription, this prescription, this prescription, this prescription, this prescription. I have something called the Freestyle Libre on my arm now. That's right.
Is that a
little sensor right there?
Oh, okay.
And that, like,
I thought that was an MTV comedy rap improv show.
No. But like I can use my phone to check my blood sugar and everything. So
amazing.
Instead of having to like prick my finger all the time.
Wow. So how does it feel to? I mean, I guess you don't have to, but to have to make these changes and to like you got to process it.
I mean, it was at the time it was tough because like we were in the middle of the pandemic and it was like. I was
that little thing.
Yeah, that whole thing. I was like, my brain is like working like in a relatively healthy manner. This is amazing. And I've got diabetes now in the middle of a pandemic. Like what? Like what? So, but again, like my wife is amazing and immediately was like doing research online for like how to treat it, what we need to get for it to make me even more comfortable, like, cause I have to travel with my insulin.
Right.
And I have to travel with like sugar, so I've got gummy bears with me all the time.
Yeah.
I need to like on a, I know I had Taco Bell before we got here, and I had to.
I wasn't going to tell anybody.
But no, but like I'm vulnerable and real. Like it's cool. I'm not gonna. I don't need to hide that. Like it was like. But that has to like that's like an indulgence. That's like like I stay away from carbs as best as I can. Like whenever we go out to a restaurant, like it's like all right, well let's look at what I should have versus what I want, and then I weigh my options there. We like pizza's a treat instead of a go-to. Sushi's a treat. Like a sushi has so much carbs in the rice,
I know.
So
that used to be our writing staple.
Yeah.
That and tacos.
Yeah. Like even like tacos, like, I have to be careful.
You and I are going to get the burritos. Yeah, but like every Thursday night, you, me, Matt Mercer, Jack Conway would meet to write. And I knew in my head, I'm like, sushi or tacos?
Yep. Yep.
Or Brittany would make some kind of nice taco table, taco. But we used to go down the street to the taco place too. So I can connect that.
Yeah.
In fact, when I go to your house now, I just start drooling. You're like, "What's going on?" I'm like,
Pavlovian
sushi.
response. Yeah. Oh, I need those
Sushi.
tacos. Sushi tacos.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like it was a thing to adapt to, but like honestly, like I have to eat right and work out. I was already doing that.
You're already
so,
trying.
All right.
But now you just have to.
Now I just have to.
Oh man, Heroes Reforged. Check it in. Check out that channel. Wonderful group over there. Matt Key, what a gem. I agree with that. Yeah.
Thank
I
you.
never know heroes if it's Augie, Hector, or Adam who writes that. I just assume they all.
I just love
take
those.
one.
I just love all those guys.
One letter at a time. As three. All right, we have a couple minutes left here. Did I give you that title card? You still there?
This one?
Hey, it's our final segment of the day. To tell the truth. Matt, I have 3 questions for you
man.
that are pretty specific to your life, but hopefully connect everyone here. All right. It's not rapid fire or anything. That's a
Okay.
Josh McCouga staple. This is specific questions about you. So we don't got 5 minutes for
Sure.
each. I know because you and I are storytellers.
Yeah. 100%.
Because
Yeah.
the first question will.
Very long-winded.
If we have more time, this first question would be a 2-hour addition to the podcast.
Jeez.
All right. So first question, and to tell the truth, you've met Bill Murray. What is the one thing you wished you said to him? And there's the proof.
Oh my god.
This is the proof.
Oh jeez.
This is a fantastic story that literally you have a 45-minute version of the story. That's amazing. You met
What-
Bill Murray outside Acme Comedy.
What do I wish that I had
What
said to
did you
him?
wish you said to him? Because give the 30-second truncated version of this story.
Oh geez, I don't know how to do that. I had found out that he was at Acme. I rushed down there just to see him.
Get
I
into his
searched for him.
car, yeah.
I searched for him for like an hour, and then finally found him right as he was going to his car. And then I couldn't help myself, and I screamed out his name like a fucking idiot, like a stalker. I was like, Bill Murray! And he stopped, and like he literally approached me like, "Are you going to kill me?" Like, I was like, and I had to like just calm down and be like, "I'm sorry, I'm just a huge fan," and he gave me like great advice on being a comedian and how important comedy is and how the world needs comedy. And he talked to me for like 5 minutes, and he was
And then he took that picture with your camera.
yeah,
Put that back up. So Bill's holding your phone. Is it
no, it's like this was like
a digital camera?
This was a digital camera. Yeah, this is before I had a camera phone. This is like 2006, probably 2007.
And what people don't realize, and you'll need to tell a story on your new podcast, even though it's a philosophy podcast. I want people to go listen to that.
Yeah.
That is not a joke face you're making. That is your real face. You did not know you were making.
I did not know I was making that face the entire time. And like, no wonder he was like talking to me the whole time. He's like, "Oh, this sweet summer child is just
This
like,
sketch kid.
this
trying to
young
get on SNL.
sketch kid. Like, oh my god, this poor sketchy kid."
So what is one thing you didn't get
what
to
is
say
the
a
one
lot
thing
to
that I
him
didn't get-
because you were looking like that while you were meeting with? What is one thing you wish you said to him?
I don't know. I feel like I said what I wanted to say. Like I told him I was a huge fan and that I was trying to get into comedy and that I was seeking that profession in large part because of him, and that I was grateful for the laughter that he had given to my family and to myself, and that he had encouraged me to that he was such an inspiration for me to come out here. Like I can think of like, I wish that I had the courage then that I do now, because then I would have been like, will you let me buy you a drink?
Yeah. So you want to get tacos?
You want to go? Hey, do you want to go get tacos somewhere? Because he seems like he's the kind of guy who would say yes to that. Not because he's a celebrity or anything else. He'd be like, well, this kid's interesting.
That
Sure,
documentary is
let's do it.
spectacular.
Yeah, the so I wish it's not something that I wish I had said. It's that I think back on it. I'm like, man, I wish I'd asked him if he would let me buy him a drink.
I got you.
Because that would have been a fascinating conversation to sit at a table with him for like 30 minutes, 40 minutes, whatever, and just
Okay, that's
go back and
you
forth.
wish you were a little bit more in your shoes.
Yeah.
And a little more sure who you are.
Yeah.
That's a great question. You met Bill Murray. I have not.
Yeah.
Another time we'll talk about the Bill Murray birthday parties he used to have and how
Yeah,
Bill
I had
Murray
two.
almost, in a weird connection, almost ended up at one of the parties.
Yep.
All right, next question coming in. We got two. What's the one luxury? I don't have a picture about this one. What's the one luxury, other than a working shower, which I would say a given, that you wish you could bring to Burning Man every time you go? You're a burner.
True.
You weren't a burner when I first met you. You're a burner now.
I'm a total burner now.
What's the one luxury?
Air conditioning.
Okay. I almost thought of excluding that one, but then some people like it hot.
Yeah, no, I wish that like I prefer to live in the event and be in the event and be present in the event and having the heat is a part of it. Because like there's this weird thing of like because you've endured the heat, like you're rewarded with the fun that you get to have out there.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I'm in a Hilton. I'm gonna be at the hotel lobby drinking.
But there are times that I'm like, man, I wish I just had an air conditioner to go to. Like there was this one year that we were camped across from this camp called Missed Opportunity, and it was spelled MIST. And you would walk in there, and they had this giant like PVC pipe structure that was covered with aluminate and aluminum kind of siding. So none of the sun's rays could get in. So none of the heat from outside could get in. And they had air conditioning and misters going on inside of it. So it was like a consistent 65 degrees inside. And we just...
Was that Susan Sarandon's tent?
Yeah, probably so. We just stayed there the whole time. We like every single day it'd be like,
I would
you guys
too.
want to get a couple drinks and head over to Missed Opportunity and just sit there for a few hours? That's exactly what I want to do, yeah.
That's fair. That's fair. Final one coming in here today. Now, I officiated you and Brittany's wedding. It was a nerve-wracking but rewarding experience for me.
You were great.
I still have it. I still have it written out. We didn't tape it, so I don't have my set tape. But I have the jokes for the night. What's the one thing you worried about before getting married that ended up never being a problem?
Whoa, that is a good question.
You have 20 seconds to answer.
Man, I don't know. Like, I don't really think I was worried about getting married. Like, I knew I was in love with Brittany, and I think maybe I was I think everyone is like, oh man, I hope that we don't fight. But like, that's a stupid worry because of course you're going to like have arguments and disagreements. Like that's what happens when two people are compromising the same space with each other, So like,
It's a romantic way to say it too.
Is it?
No, it's not.
No, I was like
Compromising the same space. Sounds very militaristic. As my lady will love over there. We compromise the same space.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Man.
Okay. Fair enough.
I don't know. Like I'm really not trying to dodge the answer. I just honestly don't know.
I think that's a good sign.
I wasn't really worried about anything. I think maybe like there's always that worry like, oh man, like am I doing the right thing? Like am I marrying the right woman? Am I gonna like are we in love with each other like for real? Like because this is for life, but I don't really feel like I even had that worry. Like that was maybe like 3% in the back of my head. Like what if? It wasn't a worry or an anxiety. It was a what if. Okay. And it's been the opposite of that. It's like, I'm more in love with her now than I've ever been.
I love it.
11 years together, 5 years married this year. So
that's right. 5 years ago.
5 years.
You had a great taco bar at your wedding.
Yeah, we did.
Were you ever worried about any jokes I was going to tell in the... Because again, like same with Josh and Amanda's, I officially their wedding. I didn't tell you anything before. We had here's what we need. Here's things you don't want to say. Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Okay. Quoted Doctor Who in your wedding.
Yeah.
Vows, ceremony, peace, whatever it is. You did the vows. I did. I don't know.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, whatever. I did the vows. Yeah.
Matt, this is wonderful. This has been wonderful. This has been everything I've wanted this show to be. I've had some wonderful guests before, and they brought their honesty and brought their truths. And you just to continue that tradition. So thank you so much, my friend. We're almost out of here. They can follow you down below there, and they get updates on when you build that weblog zone.
Weblog zone.
And your podcast. You're finally getting this podcast. I have been interviewed 3 times for the pilot episode of your podcast. You, for people that don't know, Matt Key was actually the first guest of the Napzok Files back in 2013. 2013. Yeah, 2013. Wow. Recorded on some Radio Shack mics. It sounds like it's underwater, but it's great.
Hey,
podcast coming out soon.
Yeah, the Skeleton Key. Hopefully, I'm recording a couple other episodes and going to talk to you about like
Yeah.
where to host it and all that stuff. But yeah, like I'm hoping to have it out in the next couple months. So keep
Great.
watching my socials.
Love it. Love it. Love that. Love Matt Key. Love having Matt come into the show today. We got to let Akaika go. He's been here since, I don't know, 7 a.m. Akaika? No, 8 a.m. When'd you get here? Early? Did you live here?
8:30.
8:30.
8:30.
We're going to finally let him go. Thank you so much for watching and listening to Ken Goes Live. You can follow me at Ken Napzok. You can go to my website, kennapzok.com, get information on those shows forthcoming and more things to be announced. Thank you for supporting us here at the GPA, the GPA.fun. Thanks for anyone that's Streamlabbed and Super Chatted today. We appreciate the support around these parts. We really do. But we also appreciate you out there helping us find the good and spreading the word about what we do here around these parts. That's it for this show. I'll see you in 2 weeks, friends. Bye.